Okay, and I believe I am live. Good. And I fucked up the music again. Anyway, HBO has released a trailer for the upcoming Ridley Scott series Raised by Wolves. It looks fantastic. So, that led me to, find a few lists that say, let's break down the rankings of the best sci-fi movies of all time. I got really upset when I saw it, so let's break it down. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so I kind of want to be very clear on one thing. One thing has to be very important about this particular podcast, and it's going to be a long one, because the rankings are about 150 rankings of 150 movies, and I want to go through all of them. And I mean all of them. Also, it's, what do we call it at the station? Fucking Friday. So I'm having a beer today if you want to join me, I'm going to be drinking, because... honestly, I don't care. What is it? It's almost midnight. It's a Friday night. And I had a busy one, so it's like, fucking Friday. It's what I'm going to be doing if you want to join me. And like I said, it's going to be a long one. And this one really bugged me. So, before I get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram or at Super Dario World. Also, live stream pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, even if it's almost at midnight. Even if it's almost at midnight. I'm aiming for one every single day, Monday through Friday. On Twitch and on YouTube. I still haven't decided which one I'm going to stick with, so I'm doing both for now. At Super Dario World, subscribe there. Once you subscribe, I'm pretty sure, and you click the notification bell, I'm pretty sure that your phone will tell you when I am live, so feel free to join me. Like I said, pretty much every single day, the chat's going. I may or may not be having issues paying attention to that, but I will be checking it, or at the end, I'll go through it. So, let's start with the fun stuff. So, the trailer for the HBO Max exclusive Raised by Wolves, created by Ridley Scott, was released. This show will start on September 3rd. The show looks amazing. So, in summary, basically, it's the future, and babies are raised by a robot in space. That's pretty much the premise of the show. I love it. First off, I'm a big Ridley Scott fan. For those of you who don't know who Ridley Scott is, he directed a few, kind of important films, particularly sci-fi movies. We'll be talking a lot about his sci-fi movies, but he also directed a little movie called Gladiator, The Martian, the original Alien, Blade Runner. So he's kind of a big deal in the movie world. And this series looks bonkers. Like, honestly, I'll put a little bit of the trailer here in the background. Well, I'll switch to this. Screw it. Let's get in trouble. So let me just mute that, because, I guess I can get in trouble for the audio, but I can't really get in trouble for the visuals. I don't know. Trailer looks really good. I'll make it smaller. There you go. I can't get in so much trouble if it's small, right? That is the rule. Anyway, it looks really good. It's the casting includes Amanda Collin, who I don't think I've ever seen before. But it also has, what's the name of, Travis Fimmel from the TV show Vikings. If you've ever seen Vikings, that dude's performance is underrated in that show. That guy and the guy who plays Floki, they're underrated. First off, it's a great TV show. I believe it's over, the final season got cut short. But his performance, underrated. He should have won at least some kind of award for it. I remember just the scene alone where he's like, "Who wants to be king?" Just for that scene alone, he deserves something. But, life's not fair. Let's just say life's not fair. Let me get this out of the way. So, check it out. Again, Raised by Wolves. And honestly, this is the thing that convinced me to get HBO Max. Originally, my plan was to wait until Justice League comes out. And then that's when I was going to get HBO Max, because maybe I could get, a week for free or whatever, or the free trial. Now, this show comes out September 3rd. I'm going to get it just because of this show. I'm a big Ridley Scott guy, but this seems extremely, extremely good. Just right up my alley. I'm gonna watch it. So I guess I will be reviewing that too if you're interested in it. Anyway, so that led me to the list of the best sci-fi movies of all time. It's like, we're talking sci-fi, we're talking Ridley Scott. Let's go through the rankings. And I found some that really, really pissed me off. And so it's 150 movies total. So give me a sec. Beer break, sorry. Sorry, not sorry, actually. You know what? If you've ever had a conversation with anybody, you understand what a beer break is. Anyway, so 150 movies total. Some of these I don't mind. Some of these I feel massively underrated. And by massively underrated, I mean criminally underrated. So, first we got the movie number 150. Like I said, I'm going to go through all of them. Some of these I will spend a little bit more time on, and some of those I'll just power through. But 150, I feel like it's kind of important. And the movie is called Elysium with Matt Damon. Matt Damon. And so the movie, honestly, it was originally supposed to be a sequel to a really great movie. Well, it looked like it was going to be a sequel to a really great movie called District 9. It turned out to be something extremely different. It was just, I believe it's the same creators. The movie's not that great, and the premise is kind of dumb. Basically, dude's trying to get a machine. Well, two levels of society. The rich people live not on Earth. The everybody else lives on Earth. And for some reason, the rich people have a machine that can heal you of any disease, and they just don't want to share it for some reason, which makes no sense. But to me, as I heard the premise the first time, it's like, this sounds a lot like they're kind of stealing, in many ways, they're stealing a lot of premises from a lot of things. It just seems stupid. Like, why wouldn't they just make another machine? I mean, that's the beauty of machines. You can build many of them, but okay. Then we got Super 8 at 149. Super 8 is actually it's an okay movie. It's J.J. Abrams. It's honestly, I get why it's a well-made movie. I think it's the first movie with Elle Fanning, but it's basically E.T. It's E.T. just a different time period, and E.T. this particular E.T. is kind of like a bigger, more badass monster. So okay, all right. Let's move on to 148. We got Idiocracy. Idiocracy is a great movie. Okay, it's a great fucking movie. It's got Terry Crews, Luke. What's his name? There's Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson. It's got Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph. Here's the premise. It's very similar to Futurama, actually, except that this dude gets frozen and he wakes up in the future, and the future everybody's stupid because it turns out that only stupid people are having sex and having children, and all the smart people aren't having children. And so, that goes down a few generations, and everybody in the future is a bunch of idiots except him, who's a normal dude, but now he's considered to be a genius. It's a hysterical fucking movie. I love it. It's great. I highly recommend it. The Terry Crews is great, and he's Presidente Camacho. You gotta highly recommend it. Highly enjoyable film. Number 147. Here's where things start getting criminal, because this one is a classic, and I mean a classic of an icon of cinema. And I'm talking about the original, the 1995 Ghost in the Shell, the anime Ghost in the Shell. That movie was so influential, particularly for its time. It's disgusting that it's so low. It should be way higher. Number 146, 1984. Now 145, we got Waterworld, which was a massive flop. 144, we got Invasion of the Body Snatchers. 143, we got Deep Impact. 142, we got Fahrenheit 451. All those are forgettable. 141, we got Avengers: Age of Ultron. I don't think that this should count as sci-fi. Honestly, to me, I think that superhero movies are closer to fantasy than sci-fi, but all right. I mean, I get why it's low. Out of all the Avengers movies, this is probably the worst one. So I'll probably wait to touch on that more when we get to some of the other movies. 140, we got Event Horizon, which was forgettable. 139, another crime. The 1988 classic, anime classic, Akira. Akira is it's an amazing film. It's one of the greatest animes of all time, or at least one of the most important ones of the 80s. They've been trying to make a live action version for pretty much all my life. I can remember all my life them talking about it, like, yeah, we got to make a live action version of this movie. Hasn't worked out. Beer break, sorry. And so the story is kind of a cyberpunky future where how can I explain this without making it a spoiler? All right, I'll just Nope. There's no way of explaining without spoilers. So just cyberpunk anime in the future. It's really good. Really good. It's got some psychic stuff in it. It's also got a motorcycle gang stuff. I can't explain it without spoiling it, so I'm not even gonna try. So let's move on. Number 138, we got Flight of the Navigator. 137, we got Pacific Rim. This is the original Pacific Rim with Charlie Hunnam, Idris Elba, Ron Perlman. That movie is actually really good. I love the original Pacific Rim. The first one. The first time I watched it, I was kind of upset. And the reason why I was upset, it's because to me, it felt like they were just ripping off Evangelion. Like, I love Evangelion. And so to me, I felt like they were just blatantly ripping it off. And so I was very upset. I saw it and I was angry. Like, how could they do it? And they did it worse. I was mad. And then a friend of mine was like, dude, it's giant mechs fighting giant monsters. Just enjoy it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I wasn't appreciating it because I thought, they're ripping something else off. I wasn't appreciating the actual beauty of it, which is giant mechs fighting giant monsters. Once you actually look at it from that perspective, it's actually a pretty fun film. Is it better than Akira or Ghost in the Shell? No, not at all. So like I said, the rankings here are a total mess. 136, we got Matrix Reloaded. 135, which I think it's the weakest of all the Matrixes, I guess. Oh, Revolutions, there's also a big issue. Well, honestly, there's only one Matrix that really matters. But 135, we got Predators, which was forgettable. The 134 was Omega Man, which I don't think I ever saw. 133, this is criminal. Okay, this is a crime against cinema. We got Blade Runner 2049. All right, this is directed by Denis Villeneuve. Came out in 2017 with Ryan Gosling instead of Harrison Ford as the lead. This movie is better than the original. Okay, I love Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I consider one of the greatest. It was extremely influential sci-fi movie. It's one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. Blade Runner 2049 is better than the original. Okay, it was the best movie of 2017. Highly underrated. This 133 is a spit in the face of the greatness of this movie. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. 132, we got Outbreak with Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, didn't care for it. 131, we got Fantastic Voyage, didn't care for it. 130, we got Cocoon, whatever. 129, we got Star Trek Generations, which I feel should be higher, but whatever. 128, we have AI. This is the Steven Spielberg movie, with Haley Joel Osment, where he's a robot. I actually thought it was fun. It was an enjoyable film. It's not Steven Spielberg's best film, but it was good. I believe it should be higher than 128, and especially when you hear some of the other titles that come out of this, you'll be like, what the fuck? How the fuck was that movie so low? There's a lot of these movies that should have been way higher. This is one of them. 127, you have The Day After Tomorrow. So, a perfect example. AI is better than The Day After Tomorrow, okay? The Day After Tomorrow, it's an enjoyable film, I guess, but it doesn't really have an antagonist. There's really no point to it other than to scare you about global warming, I guess, even though things are freezing up. It's okay. It's okay. For a disaster movie, it's okay. AI actually makes you contemplate the meaning of humanity. Actually, it's very, in many ways, it's like it's similar to the question that's asked in Ghost in the Shell, but I guess most sci-fi that has to do with robots and stuff, they have a robot protagonist, they have to deal with that question. Like, what makes a human a human?
How?
Which, come to think of it, was the actual mistake in the Ghost in the Shell version with Scarlett Johansson. Like, to me, it was here's the problem. Ghost in the Shell, the original one, the question is about identity. What makes you human? And the issue with the main character is that they've taken so many human parts from her and put machine that it's like, all right, at what point do you stop being a human, and at what point are you a machine? Like, is it your mortal bones that actually make you human? Is it your heart? Is it your brain? What is it? What makes a human a human? It's about identity. The Scarlett Johansson version of it deals with identity, but the question they were asking is, who is this woman? Which has nothing to do with it. Honestly, nobody really cares who she was before. It's somewhat relevant, but doesn't really matter in that point. So they kind of missed the mark there. AI asked somewhat of a similar question: is what makes a human? can you be a real boy? Actually, there's another movie that's a Robin Williams movie. It's actually pretty good. I don't know if it's on the list here or not. It's called Bicentennial Man. I love that movie. It's about a robot that wants to become a human, and you deal with the question of what makes a human a human. It's a great topic. It's very interesting, but when do you start getting rights and all that stuff? But let's continue because we got a lot of stuff here to go through. 126, we got Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. 125, we got Flash Gordon. 124, we got the 2005 War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, which is actually a fun film. I would have put it a little bit higher. 123, we got Short Circuit. 122, Signs. This is the M. Night Shyamalan version with Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix. That is a phenomenal movie, okay? That's a fantastic fucking film. It has a weak ending, and it's because of M. Night Shyamalan kind of not knowing... Well, M. Night Shyamalan is not a great director. He's had a few great films, but overall, I don't think he's a great director. At least his body of work has not been impressive overall. But Signs is a extremely well-made film. It scares me today. It freaks me out. If I saw it right now, I'd be freaked out. I'd be uncomfortable going to bed. So it's a very extremely well acted. Joaquin Phoenix knocked it out of the park. No pun intended. Mel Gibson is one of his best performances. I think this should be higher. Way higher. 121, we got Gravity from Alfonso Cuarón. I think this one won an Academy Award for Best Picture. So it should be higher. This is the Sandra Bullock, George Clooney vehicle. Should be higher. 120. Okay. I like this movie, but I like bad movies. So we got Riddick, The Chronicles of Riddick with Vin Diesel. I'm a Riddick fan. All right. I enjoy the Riddick franchise. So I'm okay with it. But I can admit that Gravity's a better film. Okay. I can admit that Gravity is better than Riddick. 119, we got X-Men Days of Future Past, which I've recently ripped the X-Men franchise to shreds, okay? Days of Future Past is not the worst, but it ain't great either. Like, overall, it's a bad franchise. Just because you're one of the better movies in a bad franchise doesn't make it a good movie. So it's not better than Gravity. It's not better than Signs. This movie needs to get the fuck out of here. Number 118, this one's weird. It's The Prestige. This is a Christopher Nolan film. It's with Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, and Christian Bale. Is it sci-fi though? I guess, yeah. Okay, I believe it counts as sci-fi. The Prestige, I would put it in a sci-fi. It's a great movie though. Honestly, Christopher Nolan is one of the best working directors right now, and I highly recommend it. It's about two magicians who are basically rivals. They start as friends and they become rivals, and one's trying to figure out how the other one does tricks, and they're competing against each other their entire careers. It's a great film. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. Next, we got 117, Mars Attacks. Okay, whatever. Forgettable movie. Tim Burton, not a big fan. And 116, we got Brazil. I don't think I saw... I'm not a big Terry Gilliam guy, so if I saw it, I probably forgot it. Number 115, The Book of Eli. Actually interesting film. Post-apocalyptic world. Denzel Washington is trying to get to a particular place, and he meets up with Mila Kunis, and he takes on Gary Oldman. It's actually pretty good. The ending is very interesting. It's one of those movies that you have to watch again after you see it the first time. You're like, oh, wait, what? Was that a thing? You go back and watch it like, oh, actually they did. Yeah. So it's a fun film. 114, and here's again where we're getting into weird territory. Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man sci-fi? Kid gets bitten by a radioactive spider. I guess it's sci-fi. I guess. This is the Sam Raimi version, the 2002 version with Tobey Maguire. Okay. I have feelings about Spider-Man's. To me, I feel like the best Peter Parker has been Tobey Maguire. He wasn't the best Spider-Man, all right? Tobey Maguire, okay, between Garfield and Maguire, I feel Maguire was a better Peter Parker, but Garfield was a better Spider-Man. Where does Tom Holland land? I think Tom Holland fits right in the middle. He's better at both, I guess, at the same time. I don't know, but that movie was fun, especially for its time, 2002, and what it did for the superhero genre is very important. Moving on, we got 113, Star Trek, the motion picture. Now, this is fucking bonkers, okay? This is the 1979 version. This Star Trek is one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. It's one of the biggest franchises, sci-fi franchises in general, and it's all the way down at 113. This is stupid. I'm telling you, this list is fucking stupid. And let's just say I disagree with Star Trek. I can admit that it should be way higher. 112, we got this is actually a pretty good film. It's not the Sylvester Stallone version. It's pretty good. I recommend it. Dread, 2012. It's fun. It's about a vigilante. Anyway, 111 we got The Lost World Jurassic Park. And it probably has a lot to do with the fact that the movie, there's a part of the movie that it takes place in San Diego, and I live in San Diego, so it's like, oh yeah, they talk about the Chargers. They're not here anymore. Whatever. They got the San Diego Zoo, San Diego Chargers, and so that's probably why it holds a special place in my heart. I also remember being terrified with the Velociraptors in the grass. Don't go into the long grass. Don't go into the long grass. I love it. So also anything that has dinosaurs, I'm a fan of. So I feel like it should be higher, but I can understand why it wouldn't be. Next we have 110, Oblivion, the Tom Cruise movie. I wasn't the biggest fan. I not at all. It was a particular time in Tom Cruise's career. I think he just done Edge of Tomorrow, and Edge of Tomorrow was fantastic. This one came out, and I was like, I can going from a mile away. So what's even the point, you know? Sorry, beer break. And so, I 109 we got Unbreakable. This is another M. Night Shyamalan movie with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think so. Superhero movies make it tough because, well, this one is not a conventional superhero movie. It is technically, but it's unconventional. It's honestly among my favorite superhero movies of all time, and this is where, again, I land where the M. Night Shyamalan has good movies, but overall I think he's a crappy director. But this is a good one. This might be his best film. It's about a guy who realizes that he can't be broken, and so he starts helping people. Is it sci-fi? I wouldn't land it in sci-fi. Honestly, I wouldn't, because I think it's more of a fantasy element than anything actually science fictiony. So, that's my humble opinion. 108 we have The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. I guess it's sci-fi in a way. Okay, The Truman Show, for if you never watched the movie, it's about a guy whose entire life is a TV show, and he doesn't know it. So they create this world, this city, where everybody else are actors. He's the only, and he's just trying to live his life. He just doesn't know that everybody else is acting. And so it's a TV show that's on 24/7. That's his life from the moment he was born has been televised, and he doesn't know it. So it's a great movie. Honestly, it's a fantastic comedy. Jim Carrey is amazing in it. But is it sci-fi? I guess, because the dome where he lives is not something that exists right now. So yeah, all right, I'll give it to you, Truman Show. Sci-fi, but it should be way higher than that. Definitely way higher than 108. Moving on, we got the X-Files at 107. This is the 1998 movie. Should be higher. X-Files is an amazing franchise. Here's where we start going into issues. We got King Kong from 1933, which is the original King Kong. I don't think that this is sci-fi. This is a fantasy movie this is a fantasy monster movie, right? I don't think I'm crazy to say that. This movie, King Kong, get the fuck out of here. It should not be in this list. Next, we got 105 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. 104 Starman. I don't understand how any of these movies are higher than fucking Truman Show, than even The Lost World, than Signs. This is stupid. Next, we got Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure from 1989. All right, 103, I believe, is fair for that. 102, we got Moon with Kevin Spacey. It's an okay movie, I guess. I don't really remember it. I saw it a really long time ago. Well, a decade ago. 101, we got Journey to the Center of the Earth. I think that's fantasy too. There's no scientific explanation as to why there's dinosaurs living under the earth. 100, we got Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. I feel like the original one should be higher than that one, but okay. 99, we got They Live, doesn't matter. 98, okay. We got The Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is an animated classic. Most of the people who watch this movie cried. All right, this is Vin Diesel at his best. You respect Vin Diesel's voice acting, okay? It's a great movie, basically about a kid who discovers a giant alien robot and befriends it, and he's the Iron Giant. Highly recommend it. Great movie. It's again a spit. They're spitting in the face of the Iron Giant by putting it all the way down to 98. Number 97, we got Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I've mentioned this before. This is the best of the Captain America movies. It's easily in my top 5 of the best MCU movies, maybe in the best superhero movies. I really like it. Captain America Super Soldier Serum. I believe it lands squarely in Sci-Fi. So all right, Sci-Fi, but it should be higher in that case. Number 96, Donnie Darko. Weird movie. I gotta be honest with you. I saw it once. Didn't really understand it. I guess I need to go back and watch it as an adult because I saw it when I was a kid. I believe I was like 10, 12 or something. I didn't really understand it. So I saw it because a girl that I liked really liked the movie, and she was like, "Oh, you should come over to my house and watch it." And I did. And it's one of those things like even if you don't get it, you're like, "Oh yeah, I liked it because she liked it." Yeah, it happens. Number 95, we got Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. All right, I feel that one's actually okay. Number 94, we have a classic, the 1998 classic, Michael Bay classic, Armageddon. Now, this movie, I believe, is kind of straight up sci-fi. I'll give it to you. Another like a disaster movie. Is it a good movie? Is Armageddon a good movie? It's not logical, and one of my favorite stories here is I don't know if they're asking Michael Bay. I believe it was okay. I believe it was Ben Affleck asking Michael Bay, and Ben Affleck asks Michael Bay like, "Hey, why wouldn't we just instead of sending a drill crew to space to drill a hole on a meteorite or an asteroid and blow it up? Why wouldn't instead of sending a drill crew, why wouldn't we just train astronauts to become a drill crew?" And the answer from Michael Bay was, "Because if we did that, we wouldn't have a movie." Which is fair, I guess. I mean, it's fair enough, I guess. So it's enjoyable. It has one of the best one of the most iconic songs of all time. Well, movie songs of all time. So all right, Aerosmith, I'll give it to you. I don't want to miss a thing. Moving on, we got Jurassic World, the 2015 movie with Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. I like this movie. I really liked it, honestly. I like watching the park open. I remember I watched it with my buddy Ernie and my buddy Felipe. When we were watching the movie, my Ernie turns to me, he's like, "Dude, how much would you pay for a weekend there?" I could picture myself as a guest going to the island and like how much I would be willing to pay. And it was a buttload of money that I did not have, but I would not care. I would get in debt just to go have the opportunity to go to a park and interact with dinosaurs. I'm not even kidding. I love dinosaurs that much. Moving on, we got this one should not be sci-fi. 92, we got Jaws. First off, if it were sci-fi, it should be higher because it's a classic. Second, it's not sci-fi, all right? Jaws is not sci-fi. There's no scientific reason or why this is a giant shark that was enhanced. I think it'd be closer to fantasy or just, it's a thriller or a horror thriller. There's no science to this, okay? Josh should not be here. Jaws. So even it's a great movie, but I'm getting it out of here. 91, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is with Bilbo Baggins. I love this movie. The books are better. I was hoping that they would do more with it. But it's fun. It reminds you that you always have to have a towel with you. Sam Rockwell is actually pretty good in it. The only downside here is that Zooey Deschanel's there, and it was a period where I was not a fan of Zooey Deschanel. But it's a fun movie. Basically, aliens come and destroy Earth, and this guy and his alien friend, who he didn't know was an alien, hitchhike out of there. It's a fun movie. It's a fun adventure. I recommend it. Moving on, we got The Andromeda Strain, which I do not remember. So I wouldn't put it there. 89, we got Looper with Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Emily Blunt. This is a great movie. Here's the premise of the movie. People from the time travel exists, and so the mob from the future what they're doing is they send people to the past, so assassins from the past kill them, and that way in the future there's no dead bodies for them to find. They can't find the dead body of the person in the future, and so no crime is committed. And in the past, even if they find the body, they're like, well, this is not a person who exists, and so they can't charge anybody for a crime. That's a so the the premise here is that Bruce Willis is the older version of the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character, and supposedly there's a point where the assassins, the time assassins, they get sent themselves from the future, and they have to kind of kill themselves, and that's when their contract is terminated. That's when their loop is closed. Well, Bruce Willis gets sent to the past, and let's say he just doesn't want to go down. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. This is when Rian Johnson actually made good films. Rian Johnson, who made one of the maybe the worst Star Wars movie ever, except Solo. So the second worst Star Wars movie ever, The Last Jedi. He knows how to make good films. It's just he needs them to be smaller. He needs them to be contained. This is a really good film. I highly recommend it. I would put it way higher. Number 88, we have X2, X-Men United. Should be way lower. Again, this is one of the better X-Men movies, but overall, the universe sucked. Number 87, we got Deadpool. I mean, if we're just accepting the premise that superhero movies are sci-fi movies, all right, they should be higher, because that movie's fucking hysterical. I recently watched it. It's hysterical. It's extremely rewatchable. You still laugh out loud every single time. I love this movie. It should be way higher. Again, one of the best superhero movies of all time. Moving on, we got 86 Tremors with Kevin Bacon. Basically, there's a monster underground that eats people. Is there any scientific reason why? I don't remember. I saw this one way too long ago when my nana loved it, but I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember. So I can't say for sure. So I'm gonna say it's not sci-fi. And Deadpool is definitely better than Tremors. I gotta say that. I'm telling you, the rankings for this stupid list is shit. Overall, it's a complete piece of shit. This list is one of the worst that I've ever gone through. Moving on, we got 85 Enemy Mine, which is stupid. 84 Demolition Man. This is Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock, 1993. This is a great fucking film, and actually extremely relevant right now. So it's a point. Okay, here's the premise. Sylvester Stallone gets frozen because they reached the point in time where they, instead of sending people to jail, they just freeze them. And he caught Wesley Snipes, an extremely dangerous criminal. And in the future, Wesley Snipes kind of gets defrosted, and he starts committing crime in the future where humanity is basically a bunch of pansies. They don't even have guns and stuff, so they don't really know how to stop him. It's scary. Watch this movie now, and you'll be like, holy fuck, they kind of saw a lot of things coming. A perfect example of this. There is a machine that's that whenever you say a curse word, like if you say fuck, you get fined for it. So it's one of those things that you're like, that's kind of where we're heading to now, right? With cancel, with censorship, with all that stuff, social media censorship and all that stuff. And you were like, yeah, it's weird. The way that they look at the future, it's a very PC future, and you're like, I don't like that at all. I don't like where this is going. And like I said, watch it now. A lot of the things are kind of they're close to the mark. For example, they have a payphone. They still have payphones because they didn't know about they couldn't think about cell phones yet. But the payphone was a video. Like instead of just being a phone, it was actually video. So they were very close to FaceTime stuff and Skype and all that stuff. They just missed the mark by a little. It's a freaky film now looking back on it. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in over a decade, but off the top of my head, they got a lot of things almost right. So that's 84. I think it should be higher. 83 got Westworld, the 1973 version. I don't think I watched it. 82 we got Time Bandits with Sean Connery. Okay, 82 I believe it's fine. I don't even remember the movie. Again, I'm not a big Terry Gilliam guy. Next, 81 we got The Chronicles of Riddick, which I've already said that I'm a fan of, even though I know they're bad films. So again, Vin Diesel. By the way, for those of you who don't know, it's a trilogy basically. I believe right now it's Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick, and there's also an animated movie there somewhere. I don't remember the name. They're fun. All right, honestly, if you're into dumb movies, it's a fun dumb movie. 80 is a slap in the face to me. Okay, it's a slap in the face because it is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm talking top 3 favorite movies of all time. And I'm talking about Children of Man with Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, Michael Caine, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, came out in 2006. Here's the premise of the movie. Women, for some reason, can't have kids anymore. Humanity just, all the people in the world, they just become, they become sterile. And for some reason, Clive Owen encounters a girl who's pregnant. And so they're trying to get her to a ship. Supposedly it has a bunch of scientists that may be able to take care of the baby. It is a phenomenal fucking film. It's one of the best movies out there. One of my favorite movies of all time. If there's, like I said, it's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. Highly recommend it. Extremely well acted, extremely well made. The premise is it's actually it kind of shows you the importance of life and and kind of the things that you should value, because once you lose a particular thing, what's even the point of anything? It's like I said, great film, highly recommended. Won't go into anything deeper because it might do spoilers and stuff. Highly recommended. That one, honestly, out of this whole list, this one should be top 3, top 5. I'm having issues thinking if it's sci-fi, but I believe it is. I should land on sci-fi. Highly recommend it. Moving on, under 79. This one should not fucking be here. 1939. The Wizard of Oz. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty fucking sure The Wizard of Oz is not fucking sci-fi, okay? It's straight up fantasy, all right? Straight up, it's a musical fantasy. So get that one the fuck out of here. Next. You got Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco. This is a bad movie, okay? This is a bad movie. Oh, it was James Franco? I don't know why I had like a I don't know why I thought it was Ashton Kutcher. No, this is the second one. The second one's with James Franco. Yeah, the first one is Ashton Kutcher, I think. Maybe. I don't know. The point is, I guess this one's not... I'm going to have to look this up. I'm going to have to look that one up. Because I thought... Yeah... No, okay, no. Yeah, it is with James Franco. Yeah, it was kind of bad, honestly. The later ones were actually pretty good. War for the Planet of the Apes was good. The last one was okay. But Rise was bad. The first one was really bad, so I get that one out of there. Number 77, we got Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, 1931. I guess it's sci-fi, yeah, because one dude is using science to create a monster. Sure, Frankenstein's monster. All right, 76. Now here's where things get dicey. All right, we got Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now hear me out. This is one of my more controversial opinions, but I believe I'm right. Star Wars is not sci-fi, okay? Star Wars is not sci-fi. Star Wars is fantasy cosplaying as sci-fi. Now let me explain why. So, sci-fi, the basic rule for something to be considered sci-fi is that there's rules in that world and you can't break them. Or you got a particular set of rules, you cannot break them for any reason. That's what makes it sci-fi. Fantasy, you can do whatever the fuck you want because of magic. So basically, the Force is magic, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it because it's the Force. Also, there's a bit of a, let's say, scientific explanation to things when you're talking sci-fi that you don't have to do with fantasy. And there's a perfect example of Star Wars, and it's of why they just don't give a fuck about explaining stuff, and it's light speed. So, for those of you who don't know, a light year is actually a measure of distance, right? It's not speed. When you're saying you're moving at the speed of light, that is speed. But if I say a light year, that is the distance that a ray of light travels in a year. So the nearest star to Earth, the star that's closest to Earth, I believe is Alpha Centauri, and it is 4 light years from here. All right, 4 light years from Earth. So that means that light has to travel 4 years in order to reach Alpha Centauri. So if I get on a spaceship on Earth and travel at light speed to Alpha Centauri, it would take me 4 years to get there. That is how traveling at the speed of light would work. I know there's a bit of time glitches there because the faster you go, it affects the speed of time. If you want to go back and check out my podcast about time, you can do it. Time's very complicated and it's affected by speed, it's affected by gravity. But overall, it would take you 4 years to get there, all right? Real time. And so, in Star Wars, they just jump around the galaxy and it takes them no time. And they're moving at light speed. Now, in Star Trek, they do have a thing called a warp drive where they do the interstellar thing where it's they bend space and time and they jump. That's fine. That's fair. That's actually scientific. It makes sense. That's actually a fast way of traveling. Star Wars, no. They stick to their guns that they're going at the speed of light, so it makes no fucking sense. Because they're traveling all over the fucking galaxy. And I'm pretty sure that the galaxy is pretty fucking wide. So, again, Star Wars is fantasy doing sci-fi cosplay. So Star Wars Episode 7 should get the fuck out of here. Moving on, we got number 75, The Fly, which I have no issues with being so low. Number 74, we got Prometheus, another Ridley Scott movie with Charlize Theron and Michael Fassbender. It was okay. I expected more from it. 74 is fine. Number 73, we got 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is okay. 72, this one is criminal because we got Dark City. Dark City is a highly underrated film. It's a film noir movie. It's a sci-fi film noir movie about a guy who kind of wakes up in a city he doesn't understand, and he believes that there's creatures there who are kind of manipulating things. I can't go any deeper because it'll do spoilers, and it's actually a big one at the end. Really well acted, really well made, highly recommended. Dark City, check it out. Came out in 1998. It holds up to this day. Really good film. Should be higher. Number 71, Fritz Lang's Metropolis, which is, I get it. It's an important film for cinema. It's an iconic movie, blah, blah, blah. It's also boring as fuck. I did not enjoy it the first time I watched it. I did not want to watch it again, but unfortunately, I am a film student, so I had to watch it several times. I was bored to tears every single time. It should be lower. I get it, historical, but it's important, very important historically, but fuck Metropolis. Anyway, moving on. We got number 70. We got Ex Machina. Now this is bullshit. Ex Machina is an amazing film. We got Alicia Vikander, one of her best performances. Oscar Isaac, who may steal the show. Okay, here's the premise. Billionaire dude creates a robot, and then he brings one of his employees to see if he can to perform a test to see if the robot can pass for a human or not. It is a mind fuck of a film. It's a psychological thriller at heart, but it's a sci-fi psychological thriller. Great performances overall. I highly recommend it. It's very enjoyable from beginning to end. It's also got a pretty interesting concept there that I won't spoil, but I highly recommend this film. And it should be higher. Moving on, number 69, we got Back to the Future Part 3, which is the weakest of the Back to the Future movies. I have issues with time travel, but here it's a pretty simple version of time travel, and I like cowboys, so all right, I'll allow it. Moving on, we got Soylent Green. That's 68. I don't think I've ever seen it, so I'll move on. 67. Honestly, I hadn't considered it to be sci-fi, but we got Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. And it makes sense because the main character gets tied up to a machine that kind of brainwashes him, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah, dystopian future, crime-riddled future. Yeah, I'll allow it. Great film. Maybe should be higher. I think this is a classic. This is a film classic, so I think it should be higher, but they don't ask me about these things. Number 66, we got Young Frankenstein. This is the Mel Brooks version, which is a comedy with Gene Hackman. It's actually pretty enjoyable, and I feel like it aged pretty well. I mean, I saw it in the early 2000s, and I thought it was funny, so all right. I thought it was more of a comedy than sci-fi, but okay. Number 65, we got The Running Man with Schwarzenegger. I would put it way lower here, but all right. Number 64, we got The Last Starfighter. I don't think I saw that movie. 63, we got Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. All right. I still think the original one should be higher, but okay. Number 62, we got Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Star Wars is not sci-fi. That is my comment there. Number 61, we got The Forbidden Planet. Number 60, we got Star Trek First Contact. Number 59, Spaceballs. Again, all right. Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars. So if Star Wars is not sci-fi, Spaceballs is not sci-fi, so get the fuck out of here. Number 58, Tron. The original Tron. Let me tell you something. This movie did not age well. It did not. The effects were so crappy. They were so crappy. The premise is pretty cool. Going into a digital world. Actually, it's the same premise as Digimon, but I think Digimon did it better. I'm pretty sure that Digimon stole it from Tron. I'm almost 100% sure that you go into the digital world. But I like Digimon better because you can train a digital monster and they digivolve. So, let's just say Tron, it's okay. You can watch it, you can enjoy it, but it did not age well at all. And I mean at all. Number 57, this is an insult because I recently rewatched it. Mad Max Fury Road. This is the one with Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. This is a great fucking film. It's one of the best action films out there. All right? It may be the best action film of all time, like just pure action film. I rarely think of Mad Max as sci-fi, but I guess it is because it's a post-apocalyptic future in a way. So I don't see it as sci-fi, but I get it, right? I can see how it could be considered sci-fi. It is a great film. It's a highly enjoyable ride. It's extremely well made from beginning to end. The acting is, I guess, okay. I mean, Tom Hardy's character says two words the entire movie, which is on par with the Mad Max character. It should be higher. Honestly, it should be higher from beginning to end. Like visually, the costumes, the cars, like every single thing that they do in this, even the dude with the guitar and the flamethrower. That movie should be way higher, way higher. Number 57, we got the 1953 War of the Worlds. Okay. Number 55, we got the 1983 War Games, which is dumb. Number 54, we got the original Mad Max. Fury Road should be higher. Fury Road is far superior than the original Mad Max. Mad Max is okay, but it's not nowhere near on the level of Fury Road. So I'm gonna drop that one down. 53, it hurts my heart, but we got Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I love Rogue One. Rogue One is among the best Star Wars movies. But if I make a rule, I have to keep it because that's how things work in sci-fi. And so if all the other Star Wars movies do not count as sci-fi, this one doesn't count either, even though it's probably the one that would be closest. Honestly, this is the closest Star Wars movie that is actually a war movie, or it's closer to a war movie. So, sorry, but you're out of here. I love it. I love Rogue One, but you're out of here. Next, we got number 52. Sorry, talking with the bottle in the mouth. Number 52, we got I, Robot, the Will Smith movie. This one is sci-fi. Just in a way, it's the future. Robots are pretty much living in all our houses. And Will Smith is the one dude who doesn't trust them. I believe that's fair. I believe that's a fair assumption. That's a fair way of describing the movie. It's fun. It's an enjoyable ride. You got Shia LaBeouf in there. And back when his career was blowing up, I don't know what happened to his career or to Will's, to be honest. But very good film. Honestly, I enjoy it. I know that not a lot of people love it, but I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Next, we got number 51, Star Trek Into Darkness. To me, this is my favorite of the Star Trek movies, and I mean all of them. So, you got Benedict Cumberbatch in there. You got Zoe Saldana. You got, the original cast Chris Pine, I believe that's the correct Chris. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Unfortunately, it followed a trend from other movies that at that time, well, it you know how movies tend to copy each other? It followed a particular trend that a lot of movies were doing at that time that's kind of waters it down, but still was pretty good. Honestly, it was really good overall. So if you watch it in a bubble and you don't know about all the other movies, it's great. So, all right, I'll give it to it. Star Trek Into Darkness should be higher. Number 50, we got Contact with Matthew McConaughey and Jodie Foster. All right. Good movie. I saw this one a while ago. Most of these I've seen too long ago, but I remember it kind of freaked me out a little. So okay, I'll give it to you. Number 49, we got Logan's Run, which I didn't really care for, but so it should be lower. That's my only rule. 48, we got Gattaca with Jude Law and Uma Thurman, should be lower. The Time Machine, number 47. Honestly, I don't even know what this movie is, so I'm gonna ignore it. Number 46, Dune. This is the David Lynch movie. This is a highly controversial film because either you love it or you hate it. I've never seen anybody in between. I'm more on the love it side, and I'm very excited for the Denis Villeneuve version, the upcoming one that's supposedly it's on track. All right, supposedly he's on track to release it this December, but who knows? Because 2020 has been a shit show. But supposedly it's on track. The dude's hauling ass to release it on December, so hopefully we'll see it. I'm very excited. I think that's going to be the best movie of the year. Knock on wood, if it comes out. Next, we got number 45, Pitch Black. So this is part of the Chronicles of Riddick that I mentioned. This is the first one, the original one. It's pretty good. Basically, here's the premise. Ship crashes on a planet. The planet has monsters that come out at night and kill you. The problem is the planet has like 3 suns, and they're about to encounter how many suns does it have? The problem is that they're about to encounter it has a lot of moons. They're about to encounter a period where it's going to be dark for a very long time because it's going to be like a very long eclipse. Oh, and the caveat here is that Riddick, well, the Vin Diesel character, he can see in the dark. So, honestly, really great film. Really, really great film. It's cheesy. It didn't age as well, but it's fun. So, I recommend it. Next, we have Escape from New York, which honestly, this is the crazy thing. I love it when reality catches up to fiction because right now, New York is a shit show. Like, it's in a death spiral. It's all like honestly, check out News from New York. It's a shit show. Like they've lost something like 30% of their population. Like they lost about in the 30% they lost about 40% of the 1%ers that they had. So now they don't have money for taxes. They're releasing criminals out onto the streets, and they're doing checkpoints for people to come in. If you come in from out of state, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Otherwise, you'll get fined $10,000. It's a shit show. It's honestly, it sounds like a dystopian nightmare. They've fired a bunch of police, so crime is up like 294%. It is wild, man. So it's crazy that we might New York has never been closer to Escape from New York as it is right now. It is wild. Like when reality catches up to fiction is a wild thing, and these dudes in the 80s kind of predicting stuff is wild. Moving on, we got number 43, Minority Report. This is the Steven Spielberg movie with Tom Cruise. Highly, highly enjoyable film. I love it. It's great. It's among Spielberg's better films. Spielberg has really great films. I believe this is among his best, or at least I really enjoyed it. The premise: there are basically 3 psychics that can predict crime, and so they send what's the word I'm looking for? A special agencies that they send special agents to arrest you before you commit a crime. However, Tom Cruise is one of these agents. However, at one point he discovers that the psychics have a premonition about him, and so he's trying to prove his innocent before he actually has to commit the crime. It's a great film. Highly, highly recommended. It's among Spielberg's best, among Tom Cruise's best. Highly recommended. Should be higher. Number 42, we got The Day the Earth Stood Still. I'm talking the 1951 version, which was better than the remake. Now, and here's where we start getting into criminal territory once again. We got number 41, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. E.T. Again, Steven Spielberg. A lot of people consider that to be his best film. Steven Spielberg would consider that to be his best film. Alien comes to Earth, befriends a kid. It's it's a tale as old as time. Highly enjoyable film. Like I said, classic. I don't think anybody in the I think it was the highest grossing film of the 80s until Jurassic Park came out. It's a sci-fi classic. Honestly, this it's a crime that's so low, but we're in the top 40s, which it means that I can start using this. I actually had pictures ready, but I had to get through all the other ones because they really upset me. But anyway, number 40, we have Avatar. And I'm talking about James Cameron's Avatar. The highest grossing film of all time until, what was it, 2019? Until last year. It's, I understand how a lot of people don't like it because it's basically, in many ways, it's Dances with Wolves, but in space. I like Dances with Wolves. And visually, it's one of those films that it's like you have to see it in movie theater. You have to because of 3D. The things that they did with 3D, the things that they did with the 3D there was magic. Honestly, I'm very excited to see the next one. James Cameron is an amazing director, probably the greatest director of all time, or at least debatably. Well, I guess the highest grossing director of all time. I think he still has the title. So I don't know why a lot of people hate it. I really enjoyed it, and number 40 seems kind of low for, again, the highest grossing film for a very long time. Next, we have The Abyss. This is the Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth. I don't remember the girl's name, but it's another James Cameron movie. It did not age that well, to be honest. I mean, you can just see it right here. It did not age well. I don't even remember most of the plot. 1989, but I remember I enjoyed it. I just only watched it once. Didn't really go back to it. Number 38, we have Mad Max 2. This is the Fury Road. This is the iconic Mad Max movie where he comes with this town that's pumping gas, and basically this whole bunch of this road gang just shows up and they want to steal their gas and kill him. It is a great movie. Is it the one that put Mel Gibson on the map? Maybe. Actually, there's a fun story about the original Mad Max. Mel Gibson was not an actor. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Mad Max is an Australian movie, but he wasn't an actor back then. And he showed up to the casting of the movie because his sister was auditioning for the original Mad Max, and he drove her there and he was supporting her. However, he had just been in a bar fight the night before. So when the director saw him, he's like, "Oh, this dude looks like a tough guy. Let's cast him as one of a thug or something." So he cast him as a thug. A few days later, they meet up again because they're going to do like costume fittings and stuff. He sees Mel Gibson's face all without being bruised up, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're our lead." So he falls in love with him immediately. So it's a little fun story for you guys there. Number 37, we have Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest is an amazing fucking stupid film. All right, Galaxy Quest, it's a comedy, but it's about, basically, imagine if the cast of Star Trek, aliens saw the TV show Star Trek and they thought it was real, and so they kidnap them in the hopes that they could help them save the galaxy. That's Galaxy Quest. It's great. It's Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Riddick is there too. Great film. Highly recommended. It's an underrated comedy. Number 36, we have Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Once again, Steven Spielberg. Creepy film. Very good. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is with aliens, I believe. Okay. There's rankings for it. There's First Kind, First Kind, is that Direct Contact? I don't remember. You know what? I'm not even going to try. I saw this one way too long ago, and the Fourth Kind was a terrible movie, so I'm not going to remember. But it's an alien movie. It's Steven Spielberg. It's pretty good. Number 35, we have, let me see. These two are not correct. Well, number 35, we have District 9. District 9 is actually a pretty fun movie. Well made. The effects are pretty good for its time. Basically, an alien ship crashes on Earth, and so the humanity created a special area just for those aliens where they could live, and so they also interact with certain humans. It's called District 9. I believe it's in Africa. And let's just say shit hits the fan. I believe that's fair. Shit hits the fan in this particular district. Next, we have this one is criminally low. And I mean criminally low. This one should be way higher. The Martian. Again, Ridley Scott with Matt Damon. One of the best sci-fi movies ever. One of Ridley Scott's best. I was still pissed. I don't remember why it didn't win the Oscar for best movie. I'll try to look which movie won that year. But it's one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. Best of all time. It's actually based on a really great book too. So if you want to read the book, apparently when the dude was writing the book, but okay, here's the premise. Basically, astronaut gets kind of abandoned in Mars, and so he has to try to survive while they figure out how the hell they're gonna save him, how they're gonna rescue him. So the dude who wrote this book, the book that the movie's based on, he encountered a lot of issues, so he went to a lot of scientific forums and started basically asking scientists like, hey, is this possible? And a lot of people are like, no, it's not possible. You should try this. You should try that. So it has a lot of really great scientific basis. It's a very accurate book. I just don't know why it didn't win. I don't remember which year it came out, so I guess I can't check it out. But yeah, should be higher. Number 34 for the Martian is way, way too low. Number 33, one of my personal favorites, Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is an amazing film. It aged extremely well. This is sci-fi. It came out, well, let me see if I double check this, 1997, and it's still pretty great today. Like, it aged extremely well. Basically, bug aliens start a war with humans. I believe that's fair. It is a highly enjoyable film. It's got Neil Patrick Harris in it, Denise Richards. I don't remember the main guy because he really didn't do much afterwards. But I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. Next, we got, what was this? Number 32? 32, we got Back to the Future Part 2. Is this the best one? This is the one where he actually goes to the future. Ooh, is this the best Back to the Future? It's between the first one and the second one. I prefer the first one, so I guess that it makes sense why this one is a little bit lower. But I mean, if you haven't seen Back to the Future, I can't help you by now. Anyway, moving on. 31, WALL-E. WALL-E, I love WALL-E. It's my favorite Pixar movie. It's definitely sci-fi. It touches on a lot of issues that we have right now, which is pollution. We have a pollution issue. What are we doing with trash? Also with obesity. A big problem with obesity. The genius of this movie is that the main character doesn't speak. Like he can do like one or two noises there, but he doesn't really have any dialogues. Most of the emotions are convened by a robot, with music, with sounds, with movements, with what it does with his hands. It is an extremely well-made film and my favorite Pixar movie. So I would have had it way higher. Next, we got Inception, Christopher Nolan movie. I like it. I get it. This is sci-fi. Again, it's one of those things that you don't really think about until you're like thinking about it. Inception is a sci-fi movie because it's basically, it's about thieves who steal information from your brain during your dreams. I believe that's fair. And so we don't have the technology to go into your dreams, so it is sci-fi. Great movie. It's one of those movies that if you don't think too much about it, it makes perfect sense. Once you think about it a little bit, it doesn't hold up as well. But just don't think about it and you'll enjoy it. Honestly, it's a really good film. Mm-hmm. Moving on. Another dystopian future movie and another classic. We got RoboCop. The original RoboCop. This is number 29. Now that I think about it, it's actually also there's a lot of, again, the way that reality tends to catch up to fiction is pretty interesting here. So in the movie, basically, corporations are hiring criminals to commit crime and to fuck cities up, so that property values go down and they can just buy up a whole bunch of property, which is kind of interesting and very similar to in a way similar to what's happening right now, because property values are plummeting in certain cities because of crime. So, was it all planned? Is this all corporations doing? Did RoboCop predict this? Did they predict this future? I don't know. I like to think so, but I doubt it. Great movie. Basically, it's about a cop that gets shot to oblivion, and they manage to save him by implementing robot parts, and that's RoboCop. Really gory. Highly recommend. It's a very gory film. It's not for the faint of heart. It's really well made. I think I would have put it higher, but oh well. Next, we got number 28, Interstellar. Now, I love this movie, Matthew McConaughey, and I remember I told my buddy Ernie after we saw this movie, because he joined me to watch it, if I had seen this movie when I was a teenager, I would have done absolutely everything in my power to be an astronaut. And I mean, absolutely every single thing in my power to become an astronaut. Fortunately, when I saw it, I was already too old to be an astronaut, or at least I think I am. And so I never pursued that, but I would have loved it. I would have loved to have been nothing more than an astronaut. It's an amazing film from beginning to end. It gets a little bit weird at points, but again, it's a Christopher Nolan film, so if you accept the information you are given, you're fine. If you think about it maybe a little bit too hard, it kind of ruins it. So just accept what it's given, accept that that's the premise of that world, and you're fine. Great performance, by the way, too, by McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. Next, we got number 27, 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis. Another time travel movie. I have issues with time travel movies. I've said it a million times. But this is a weird film, man. It's weird not because of time travel. It's weird just because it's directed and it's made in a way that kind of gives you a headache. I remember the first time I watched it. I mean, I was very young when I watched it the first time. I did not really understand exactly the whole time travel stuff. At points I was like, is he just imagining this? Is it really? Is he actually going back in time? Is he just crazy? What the hell's happening? Really good movie. Basically, a dude gets sent to the past to stop a terror event that sends the world into shit. That's pretty much the premise for it. Really good movie, honestly. Confusing, but I mean, if you're an adult, you should be able to get it. Next, we have the Star Trek reboot, the first one, I guess. I already said it. Into Darkness is way better, so I would have flipped these two. Number 26, I believe, is fine, but Into Darkness was way better, so I would have actually put that one higher. Next, we got Independence Day, the highly controversial Independence Day, as number 25. Now, I like this movie because it's so stupid. I'm a fan of stupid movies, man. I'm a fan. I enjoy it. There's sometimes certain movies that you're like, all right, so basically all I have to do here is sit back and enjoy the ride. I'm all in. What are we doing? We're fighting. We're just fighting aliens and blowing shit up. All right, I'm in for that ride. There's a stripper here who's trying to marry a what is he, a major or something? All right, sure, whatever. He's trying to save the first lady. Okay, we're hacking alien spaceships and giving them a flu with a MacBook. Okay, all right, I'm all in. I also like that afterwards in Star Fox 64 they kind of recreated the ship attacking scene, the pyramid scene. It's actually a lot of, well, honestly, it's probably my favorite part, that you're like, oh my god, I'm going through Independence Day. This is fucking great. So, it's the little things. I mean, honestly, that has nothing to do with the movie. It has to do more with the video game, but whatever. I'll still credit what credit's due, I guess. Next, we got one of my personal favorites, Serenity. Now, this is number 24. This one gets a little bit tricky. This movie is based off of the TV show Firefly. Now, Firefly got canceled after its first season, and it pissed everybody off. Every fan of the show got so pissed off that they sent so many fucking letters and made so many fucking phone calls to Fox that Fox was like, all right, we got to do some things to shut these people up, because the fans wanted the show to come back. However, the everybody else had already found another job, so it's really hard to bring the show back. And so Josh Whedon, who also created Buffy the Vampire Slayer and who also created the Firefly TV show, found a way to make a movie out of it. And so the movie, in a way, closes out the story. Now, do you need to watch the TV show in order to understand the movie? Not really. It makes it better. So I honestly, I saw the movie first and then I saw the TV show. I wished I would have done it the other way around, but it's good either way. My recommendation is watch the TV show and then watch the movie. It's a way better way of watching it. But the basic premise is it's a western in space. A band of brigands is being chased by the government because they are protecting a couple of crew members who are criminals on the run from the government. I believe that's fair. Great movie. Highly recommended. Great TV show. One of the best of all time. It's probably the best TV show that ever got canceled in its first season. And it still pisses me off to this day. Anyway, moving on. Number 23, we got Tom Cruise's Edge of Tomorrow. I recently saw this movie again. And recently, I mean, I think within the last 2 weeks. Maybe 3? I don't know. I recently watched this movie. It is a great fucking film. Great. There's actually going to be a sequel to it. And fun story. Because I remember I read an article where the director was like, after the movie was done, he was like, I'm done. I'm fucking out of this. I'm so happy this movie's over. Because making this movie was probably a creative shit show. Because as you're watching the movie, you don't really think about it, but it's having to record the same thing over and over again and keeping track of all that stuff because you kind of have to edit it in your head and being like, okay, now you have to do this slightly different, and this happens before, and so you can't know this, and so this happens after. So he says it was a clusterfuck in his head to get this movie done. It gave him migraines from beginning to end, but he got it done, and he did a great job. Basically, the premise is that this guy, Tom Cruise, for some reason, there's an alien invasion, and every time he dies, a day starts over. I won't get deeper into it, but that's the basic premise of the movie. And so the director was like, I'm fucking out. I'm not going through that again. And then he had lunch with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise pitched him the idea for the sequel, and he was like, fuck, that sounds great. Fucking goddamn it. All right, I'm in. So we will be seeing a sequel. It will still be the same director. It'll still be Tom Cruise. We just have no idea what the fuck it's going to be about. So there you go. That's the update there. Number 22, we have the original Planet of the Apes. Now, this definitely has to be there. I would have put it top 20 because it's a classic. Like, Planet of the Apes is a sci-fi classic. It's also probably, I guess it's one of the most iconic endings of all time. I guess I probably shouldn't put that panel there if you haven't seen the movie. But great film. I would have put it higher. Another horror classic, we got The Thing. For those of you who've never seen The Thing, a creature is discovered in Antarctica that kind of takes over. Well, it's a shapeshifter. Shapeshifters found in Antarctica. It is a very creepy fucking film. Shapeshifters freak the fuck out of me. It is extremely well made. The whole thing about being in Antarctica is terrifying because you're already in a very secluded place. And with a shapeshifter, this is the Kurt Russell version, by the way, the John Carpenter version. Highly recommended. It's a great film. It's a great horror movie. Next, we have Ghostbusters. Now, I don't think that Ghostbusters should count as sci-fi. I get it. They have the machine that captures ghosts. But are ghosts real? I mean, to me, ghosts are closer to fantasy. Also, there's a demon portal that's going on. So, to me, honestly, this one's out of here. I love Ghostbusters, but it should not be number 20. It should not be on this list at all. Next, we got Stargate, again with Kurt Russell. Oh, man. I saw this movie a while back. It created a whole bunch of TV shows. I watched the TV shows more. I don't remember the movie that well, but I remember I enjoyed the shows. So, all right. Okay, I guess top 20 is fine. Number 18, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check here. Yes, number 18, we got Total Recall with the Governator. Yeah. Now, the premise to this movie is actually pretty cool because basically you can go on a mental vacation where you can be whatever you want. And so they inject you with this thing and basically you can live whatever experience you want. And so this guy goes. However, it's I guess I don't want to do spoilers here either. But the premise here is what's happening in the movie what's actually happening, or is he imagining everything because he's on a mental vacation? it's an interesting concept and something that I believe they could have played around more. Especially in the remake, they don't play around with that at all. With this one, they could have done a little bit of a better job, but it's the Governor in his best. Very enjoyable film. What's her name? Sharon Stone. I believe it was her big break there. Well, yeah, I believe it was Sharon Stone's big break. But okay. I mean, number 18 seems fair. Next, we have 2001: Space Odyssey. So I need a sip of beer for this one. So
Okay.
I am not a Space Odyssey fan. I get it. A lot of people think it's Kubrick's best film. A lot of people think Kubrick is the greatest director of all time. A lot of people think that this is the best sci-fi movie of all time. I am not a Kubrick guy. I have an issue with him. Now, Kubrick has a tendency to give you a shot, and you're looking at it, 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 and just at the point where you reach your breaking point, when your brain is like, stop, that's when he switches it. So he's keeping you there, and you're like, and that's when he switches it. I don't find that fun. I don't think that's enjoyable. That's not a good experience for me. So I don't like it. So sitting through his films is difficult for me. I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey at school so many fucking times. I could throw up having to watch it again. Let's say I'm good. I get it. It has its place in history, but and it was very influential for blah blah blah. And you got the dun 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 bum bum bum. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Anyway, moving on. We have Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. Khan. All right, I get it. Yeah, it's fine. On it, top 16. It's okay. It's an enjoyable film. Honestly, it's maybe the best Star Trek movie. My favorite is Into Darkness, but this is probably the most iconic one because it has the best villain. But moving on, number 15, we have a personal favorite of mine, The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element. Looking back on it, it's not an extremely well-made film, but I love it. First off, Mila Jovovich, maybe the most beautiful woman in the world. She's great in it. That's where we actually get to see her. Then we got Bruce Willis, Corbin Dallas, and the coup de grace, Chris Tucker, in his wildest role in his career. I love the film. The premise is great. Again, looking back on it, it's not the greatest movie. It doesn't make the most sense, but it's fun. It's an enjoyable adventure from beginning to end. How can I describe it? How can I do a quick summary of The Fifth Element? Basically, aliens are coming to Earth, and we need to gather all 5 elements to stop them. I believe that's fair. In space. Yeah, let's say the force of darkness are coming to Earth, and so we need to find the 5 elements of an ancient weapon to defeat them. I believe that's better. Okay, took me a second, but I think that's a better description. Next, we have number 14, Men in Black. This is again Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones. It should not be this high. I love Men in Black. Men in Black's great. It's a lot of fun. It is not better than The Wrath of Khan. It is not better than The Thing. It is not better than Edge of Tomorrow. It's not better than Serenity. It's not better than many other movies in this list. It's fun. It's okay. It's enjoyable. You got Vincent D'Onofrio with the roaches and shit. Fun. Should not be this high. Definitely not this high. 13. I was shocked to see this here. Because it's really kind of new, but we got Alita Battle Angel. Now, for those of you who haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. This is a Robert Rodriguez film, but it's produced by James Cameron. It is probably the best adaptation of a manga / anime, live action adaptation of that. It is a great fucking film. It's gaining steam because a lot of people want the sequel to come out because the first one was so good. Again, best adaptation of a manga and or anime. I believe it never was an anime. I believe it was a manga. But it's finally like they're starting to get the shit together. Like live action movies are starting to get their shit together in that aspect. Basic premise: dystopian future. The rich people live in a city up in the sky. The poor people live on the ground where they throw their trash. Doctor finds this girl in the trash, gives her a robot body, and let's just say shenanigans ensue. I believe that's fair. So, very similar to other stuff. It's not the most original idea in the world, but the action is legit. The story is legit. I highly recommend it. It's a great, great film. Moving on, maybe my favorite list, maybe one of my favorite movies on this list, Jurassic Park. Well, honest, all right. I need to say that differently. The movie that I've seen the most on this list, Jurassic Park. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs, man. That's all I have to say. Dinosaurs. It's a movie with dinosaurs. If you don't know the premise of Jurassic Park by now, you're living under a rock. And I'm pretty sure that I have these things for a mature audience, so you definitely should not be seeing my channel if you haven't seen Jurassic Park. But this movie was basically my dream. Seeing dinosaurs. It should have terrified me. Looking back on it, because remember, Lost World scared me. This one did not scare me. I saw it as a little kid. It did not scare me at all. It was fascinating. I was like the song, the acting, the T-Rex, the Raptors, everything. I loved this movie from beginning to end. It is the movie that I've seen the most. Let me see, because we had it on VHS. I watched it easily 100 times. Easily, probably more than that, because we could watch it multiple times. And then as an adult, I can't even imagine how many times. In fact, I want to watch it again. It's probably the funnest movie on this list so far. So, should be higher in my humble opinion. But let's move on. We got Guardians of the Galaxy is number 11. It is not better than Jurassic Park. Again, we entered this whole issue of are superhero movies fantasy or are they sci-fi? Guardians of the Galaxy is among the better movies in the MCU, but not better than either Edge of Tomorrow. It's not even better than Signs. It's not better than Jurassic Park. Not at all. So let's move on from that. I love the movie, all right? I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Big fan of the franchise. Big fan of the cast. Like, these were a whole bunch of nobodies, all right? Chris Pratt was the dude from Parks and Rec. He was the dude from Everwood. He was the hippie dude from the OC, all right? He was a nobody. And this is the movie that kind of, brought him to stardom. Zoe Saldana was probably... she had just done Avatar, so she was part of the biggest selling movie of all, the highest grossing film of all time. Bradley Cooper was not Bradley Cooper yet. Vin Diesel, I think, was the biggest star in this movie. Only says the same line over and over again. And nobody knew who Dave Bautista was. So this was a bunch of nobodies. I get it. It was very successful. James Gunn did a great job. It became a billion-dollar franchise. I still wouldn't put it higher than Jurassic Park. So let's move on. Next, we have T2, Judgment Day, the best of the Terminator movies. So, honestly, a lot of people would argue that this should be in the top 5. I don't understand how this movie is top. It's number 10. Terminator 2, number 10? No. Definitely should be higher. This is wrong. For those of you who don't know the premise, you're living under a rock, but okay. There's a war between... it's in the future. There's a war between humans and robots, between humans and Skynet, and the leader of the human resistance is named John Connor, and so Skynet sends killers to the past to kill John Connor. That way, they don't have to deal with him in the present. They send one. They send one to before he was born. They send one to when he was a teenager. That's the story of this one. And so, what's up? So,
robots, not killers.
What?
They send robots, not killers.
They send killer robots to him, and great. Well, again, one of the best action films of all time. Number 10 is an insult, especially considering that the next one is number 9. We got The Predator. Now, I am a Predator fan, but if we're ranking the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, T2 is a way better movie than Predator. Predator has its issues. Now, Predator probably has the best Arnold Schwarzenegger pun out there. Now, the dude's known for his puns. Like Batman and Robin has a lot of puns. It's the like what we got here, like, allow me to break the ice. Or everybody chill. So it's got puns up the wazoo, but in Predator there's a moment where they're attacking like a group of I think they're in Vietnam or something, but they're in the jungle and they're attacking like this gorilla dudes, and so Arnold Schwarzenegger pulls out a machete, throws it at somebody, gets him right in the chest, and he hits him so hard that he pins him to the wall. So the machete pins the guy to the wall. Schwarzenegger turns around, he looks at him, he goes, "Stick around." So I love the movie just because of that, because of stick around. But it is not better than T2. And them just having back-to-back is stupid. Next, number 8, we have Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. Star Wars is not sci-fi. Star Wars is not sci-fi. I already explained this. It should not be on this list. It's fantasy cosplaying as sci-fi. So we're moving on to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So, in case you didn't hear me last time, Star Wars is not sci-fi. So we're moving on. Next, we got number 6, we got The Matrix. The Matrix is a legit film. The first one is amazing. It's an amazing film. The premise... Eric's an idiot, okay? Eric, I don't think the mic caught it, but Eric said that the second one's better. Eric's a fool. Eric's a fool. The first one is the best. Because the first one is actually the one that sets up the world. There's also this whole insanity thing that's going on. Or at least I prefer the first one. I think the first one is it's the better one. Number 6. Top 10 for sure. Top 10 for sure. Top 5? Ooh, it's hard. It's hard. Because there's so many great sci-fi movies out there. Yeah, okay. I'm confident with the top 5. I'm confident with the top 5. It's just really well made. It has one of the best villains of all time, Agent Smith, in there. The premise, it's honestly, I think it's a funner premise. It's a similar premise to Terminator, but better. And so yeah, okay. The Matrix, better. All right, yeah, it should be top 5 for sure. Next, we have number 5. So we reached the top 5. Finally, we reached the top 5. We've got Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. Now, I already said this before, but in case you didn't hear it, the original Blade Runner is great. It's an iconic movie, honestly. And this is one of those things again, where reality is catching up to fiction, because in this movie, LA is a shit show and it's a shithole, and it's filled with a whole bunch of like homeless people, and it's dirty and it sucks. Go to LA right now. They weren't that off the mark. I mean, they were still off the mark, but they weren't that far off the mark. I like 2049 better. I like the sequel better. I love this one. It's great, especially the director's cut. Though the way that it leaves you wondering, was he a robot or not? Basically, Blade Runner is a type of... All right, so it's the future, and which technically right now it's the past, but back in that day it was the future, and humanity created robots, and but robots are not allowed on Earth because they created androids basically that they look like humans, and so androids are not allowed on Earth because they did a rebellion once. So basically, we send them off like slave labor to work in space in conditions where humans can't survive, and they have an expiration date. And so a group whenever our android comes to Earth, there's a special police officer that has to hunt him down, and those police officers are known as Blade Runners. So this is the story of Detective Deckard, who may be the best Blade Runner of them all. It's a slow film. It's a slow burn. It's a sci-fi film noir. But what's the director's cut? It's the best version of it. It's a very enjoyable film. Again, slow burn, but that way you can watch 2049, which is even better than that one. It's better overall. So it makes the movie 20. I guess 2049 stands up. It stands on its own, but it's better if you've seen Blade Runner. Highly recommend it. Next, we have number 4, the original Terminator. This is the one. Remember how I explained that they sent a killer to kill John Connor when he was a teenager, and then before he was born? This is where they send the killer before he's born. Not better than T2. So the fact that it's number 4 is insanity. Like I said, this whole list is bullshit. It's bullshit. It's actually pissing me off how anybody could think that the original Terminator should be higher than T2. Like, T2 perfected it. T1 is like, okay, it's good, it's enjoyable, but T2 is where it's at. So, very, very wrong. Number 3, we got Aliens. Now, Aliens is a very interesting franchise because there's 4 movies in the Alien franchise. We got Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. They are all directed by different people. Now, there's also the Prometheus franchise and all that stuff and the expansion, but let's stick with the ones that actually have Alien in the title. The first one was directed by Ridley Scott. The second was directed by James Cameron, who, as I mentioned, may be the greatest director of all time, at least the highest grossing director of all time. The third one was directed by David Lynch, and the fourth one, I don't remember. Was it Joss Whedon? Let me just double check. A lot of people don't like Resurrection. I actually quite enjoy it. I like it better than the third one, but nobody's asking me. No, Jean-Pierre Jeunet. I have no idea who that guy is. Let me see what else has he done. Oh, he did Amélie. He's the guy who did Amélie. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Yeah. So, interesting franchise. So, what happened here is Alien, the original Alien created by Ridley Scott. The way that they pitched that movie is Jaws had just come out. And Jaws was an extremely, extremely successful film. They made a buttload of money, a buttload more money than they ever expected in in the box office. And so the way that they pitched the Alien movie, because there's such a thing as called an elevator pitch, where you try to sell your movie and you got your tagline and you sell your movie with like in 2 lines, the summary, and that's the way that maybe you get people to finance it or somebody to pick it up or whatever. And so the way that they sold this movie is, what they said was, it's like Jaws, but in space. The movie sold like that immediately. Like, it didn't even last a second. They immediately like sold. So the way that James Cameron sold the sequel is he went up to a blackboard and he wrote the word alien, and then the S at the end of aliens, he did a $sign. And again, immediately, sold. We're making it. So there's always been this debate. By the way, and I need to tell you what number 2 is. Number 2 is the original Alien. There's always been this debate. Which movie's better, Aliens or Alien? The original or the James Cameron sequel? They're very different films in style, because different directors have different styles. Alien is a horror sci-fi film. Aliens is an action movie. It's an action sci-fi movie. I recently, I think it's within the last month, I saw both of them. I still cannot answer this question. I still cannot decide which one's better because they're so different and they're both so great. And they have the most terrifying creature in the story of cinema, in the history of cinema. Basically, in the first one, it's a alien known as the Xenomorph who, all right, they go to, all right, it's the future, spaceship finds basically an alien creature on an abandoned planet that basically fertilizes you and comes out of your body. In the first one, they're stuck in a spaceship. In the second one, it's a group of Marines, and they go to the planet where they originally found the egg, basically. It is the most horrifying creature in the history of cinema, not just because of how it looks. I'm sure you've seen an image of the Xenomorph. I'll just put something up here. Xenomorph. It's a big black creature with that supposedly, the rumor has it that it came out of the drawings of a crazy person, which I would not It would not surprise me at all. Let me just see if I can open this up because I feel like I'm just worried. So it's got, as you can tell, it's got armored body. It's got that's a terrible image. I need to find something better. Like I can do better than that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So let's say it's got an exoskeleton, very, very thick exoskeleton. It's got claws, it's got a tail that kind of like a scorpion. But the thing that really bugs me the most is that its blood is acid. So it's got acid blood, meaning that if you hurt it, it's gonna spill acid all over the place. So if you're in space, it's gonna make a hole in the hole, which is something that you don't want because it'll open you up to the vacuum of space. And if you're near it, you'll get burned to death. So not only is this terrifyingly looking, not only does it have extremely sharp teeth, not only does it have two mouths that one of them comes out like, Gah! And it gets you, not only does it have extremely sharp claws, not only is it extremely agile and fast and it can move around, it can hide. Not only is it always wet, I don't know why it's always wet, and not only does it have like a giant scorpion-like tail, it also has acid for blood. So, and also it's smart as fuck. So, the most terrifying creature in the history of cinema, at least in my humble opinion. Like, if I had to deal with anything, I think I have a better chance against Freddy Krueger or Jason than I do against the Xenomorph. So that's just my humble opinion. Anyway, going back to these, to me, the tiebreaker has always been that the original came first. It's the only thing I can think of a tiebreaker. Because you have to give... You get points for being the one that made it first, because without the first one, you don't get the second one. So, all right, Aliens is number 3, and Alien is number 2. Seems perfectly fair to me, honestly, just because of that. And then, as number 1, you can probably imagine it, which is bullshit, and it doesn't count, but we got Empire Strikes Back. Now, if you didn't hear it the first time, and you didn't hear it the second time, you're going to hear it now. Star Wars is not sci-fi. It should not be on this list. It should not be 2 of the top 10. Wait. Let me see. Where was the other one? Was it 2 of the top 10? I don't know. It should not be the number 1. Yeah. No. Oh, shit. I'm wrong. 3. 3 of the top 10 should not be Star Wars, okay? 3 of the top 10 best sci-fi movies of all time should not be Star Wars because Star Wars is not sci-fi. It is fantasy cosplaying as sci-fi. It doesn't set up the rules for the world, and if it does, it doesn't follow it, and it doesn't have a scientific explanation for anything. Nothing. Nada. Also, it has magic, which is the Force is basically fucking magic. You can argue that it's psychic abilities, but no, it's fucking magic because they use the Force. Anyway, I don't think that Star Wars should count for this particular list. I believe it's wrong. Again, if I take those 3 out of the top 10, I would also take out the original Terminator. I would also take out Predator. And I would move in Jurassic Park. Ooh, I would move in... Oh, God, this is hard. Interstellar. I would move in WALL-E. I would move in The Martian. Like, if I had to do a switch, those are the ones that I would do for the top 10. I can't think which one. I can't do the rankings of right now, and I've been talking for an hour, so I need more beer and your water. So I'm just going to leave it there today. I'm done. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you had some fun. That was a long one. I told you we were going to go through the 150. I told you. But it's Friday, and I want to have a beer. So hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram or at Super Dario World. Doing live streams, man. Doing live streams. Thank you for those of you who joined me. I'm gonna be trying to do that every single day, Monday through Friday. Any comments, questions, you can also find me there. The streams at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch. Subscribe there and click the notification button. That way you know whenever I'm starting to go live. But that's it. That's it for this week. As always, thank you for listening, and I will see you again next time.